And we are live with what is, I guess, now Friday night's talks. Um, I'm Joe. Joining me are, of course, Black Knight, my co-host,
Hello.
and James E. I
Good
believe you're
morning.
you're Black Knight's Tuesday co-host.
Yeah. Well, I kind of just
I'm more
press
like
all the buttons.
he's the host. I'm the support.
I just press the buttons. I get it running. Black Knight and RH Snow were
Rebecca.
just looking for somebody to kind of just do all the technical details on the side, and I volunteered. So we just kind of just been using my little channel I got dedicated to lore. Revolving around my writings for every Tuesday to go live, and it's been good. We've been doing it for over a year now,
Hmm.
and it kind of flew by quite quickly. It really
Oh
flew
yeah.
by. We didn't even notice until
Yeah.
last time when I realized we are over 50 something weeks in a row of just going live one after the other. So the weeks do fly by.
So true. So true.
Yeah. Uh, well, I'm headed towards 2 years on Substack, so I know the feeling. That first year flew
Mm.
by, and then
Nice.
yeah, and now it's on to year two.
Maybe after
Um,
another year on Substack, I'll somehow reach like 1,000 subs.
you'll do
We'll
it.
see.
You'll do it.
Keep
Yeah.
on posting.
Yeah, because I've not
Uh,
like you are gaining steam. I am noticing that, and you do have a lot of people giving you shout outs and commenting on your fiction. Um, it's um, uh, last week I probably would have complained that I'm not getting comments, but I've found out part of the reason is that my fiction is really, really big, and I need to post it in smaller doses. So
yeah.
yeah, I got a few people telling me post in smaller like chunks. So I got to do that. And oh zit, I got to also
Oops.
post a French
Excuse me.
sub chapter later. Quoi? Uh-oh. It's just me. And I can't dance, not in this armor. What do I do?
Oh, no, I'm here. The dog was just distracting me for a moment.
As dogs should.
Yeah. The
Um,
Substack growth rate. I guess it really depends how hard you push it and how hard you try to hit their algorithm as well. Because the difficulty about Substack is I think there's actually more writers than there is readers. At least have been appearing in my feed. And then ever since
mhm.
Elon kind of took over Twitter, you've been seeing a lot more non-literary Substacks popping up, and a lot of them not even based off of posts either. You're seeing a lot of them just being basic tweets, I guess, and just Substacks full of tweets. So the algorithm has been shifting a bit. And I think all that's been affecting it as well. So I think if someone really wants to grow on Substack, I'd say follow some of the biggest channels that are close to what you're trying to produce and glean from what they're doing. That's kind of what I did on YouTube because I'm an editor by trade and I write primarily as a hobby. And through doing so, I've just kind of learned to follow the algorithm because you could have a really great piece of content, but if you don't have that algorithmic push, it could just get lost in the endless amount of uploads that these platforms see every single month. So it is a grind. And like I said, depending on which platform you want to get big on, look for the people who are already big there
Yeah.
and follow their lead.
Yeah. It seems that
That's
I have to go. Yeah.
okay. No
That's awesome.
problem.
All right.
So
You take care.
you have fun, and
You have a good
I'll
one.
try.
yeah.
So, what does your Substack growth look like right now?
Not. Well, it wasn't the fastest a while back, but it started to pick up again because I froze. Sometimes it freezes every once in a while. Like I froze at something like 21. Uh, 89 to 93 thereabouts.
Yeah.
And then it jump started all of a sudden to 1222. Then it stopped for the past 2 days, and then
Okay.
it's starting up again. It
Right.
does that every once in a while. You're supposed to be in notes all the time. I'm not always in notes because
Yeah, same.
recently it's just because I'm trying to catch back up on some writing, and I'm trying to finalize a short story for a magazine, and also trying
Nice.
to. Yeah, thanks. It'd only be $25, but it's $25
It's
American.
published. It's published.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be like $50, which is really good.
Yeah.
Um, and I also want to do the radio uh, or
Yeah.
audio drama
Okay.
because
Yeah.
that's where I've got a friend whose
Well,
drama is
money is a
blown up on YouTube. So I
yeah.
thought, post that on Substack,
That's
post that on Rumble, everywhere.
that's the way to go. I've been approaching that as well. I'm writing short stories as well in a serialized fashion. I have or I'm planning to release every single short story eventually in a I want to say half dramatized form because it's still going to be someone reading my works, but I've done the whole sound effects thing before, the Foley thing before. So I have like 15 gigabytes of just sound effects, then I'm confident enough to work with somebody's reading. It's not going to be like ultra professional, but it's going to be quality for YouTube. I've already uploaded one, so I've been going down that road as well because it's something that I believe authors need to tap into because more people these days are listening to stories compared to both
Reading.
watching as well as reading. I'd say more people are listening these days. You have multiple platforms that are dedicated to listening. You have YouTube podcasts that are all about what people are hearing over than seeing. This is something that's been taking over media slowly, and I don't think a lot of people are realizing it because you can listen to something while doing something else. You can engage one sense over here and engage the other over there, and there's a trick to it as well because I myself listen to a lot of audio, and I realized some audio podcasts or some dramatic stories, even fully dramatized, where people are more so playing the parts than just reading a story. Um, there's some that just captivate me to the point where I kind of put down what I'm doing to actually listen to the story. So there's an art behind it as well. And what we're seeing a lot of these days is actually the infiltration of cheap AI, which, in my opinion, is bad for the consumer, but may be good for the producer because now you have the vector of telling people, hey, this is AI free. This is made, written by a human, produced by a human, sound effects placed by a human, things like that. Because AI, unfortunately, as much as I hate to see all this schlocky content, I've always said that quality is the ultimate goal, and I never hated AI for existing, but I dislike the absolute lack of quality that people have been using it as more of like a instant crutch for content than anything else. So with the flurry of these audio stories hitting the market that are just AI, they're like written by AI and they're narrated by terrible AI voices. I've actually worked with AI audio. It can get really good if you spend the time actually kind of working the process to get the appropriate lines spoken in the appropriate way. Compared to what they're doing is just like hitting a button, taking what it's shitting out and putting it out there on the market. And unfortunately, that's going to be our competition, good and bad. The good part is you can say it's written by a human. You can say, look at me, I'm human. And that will, for a gigantic portion of the audience, make people gravitate towards it compared to the AI. And this will actually also give the author more so less room to make slight mistakes, like maybe a typo here or there, I say, because when people see that, compared to the perfection of AI's writing, not necessarily in the quality of stories, but in its punctuation and its word choice is actually pretty good. Um, when people see those errors in the writing, they're going to know it's human. And that in itself may be a bit of a marketing ploy, not necessarily one I'd say people should use. Look, my book's got errors, but say when you see those errors, you're going to know that's more of a human thing than a machine. And people want to consume from humans.
Yeah.
And that's my rant.
Well, I'll just comment that from what I've seen, the audio route is the way to go, but it's also good to combine it with some pretty visuals because on some platforms like YouTube and whatnot, because people like pretty things, or at least decent looking visuals. I don't know how well the still image thing goes because my other YouTube channels have all crashed and burnt, and have generally not been a very good runaway success. But then again, the YouTube algorithm is the worst in tech history, I think. And this is part of the reason I really like Substack is just I don't have to deal with the same algorithmic nightmare scenario that is, YouTube. But YouTube has the normie audience. Well, shoot. Tech failed. Poor James. He's in the Discord. Oh,
All right, sorry.
he's back.
Little internet
thank heaven.
stutter. My internet stuttered there for a minute. I got kicked off. I was afraid.
It's
but
okay.
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I need to get me an ether.
But yeah, like, but the main, but like I said, it's just at least for YouTube, you need the pretty visuals, but on other sites, not as much.
It comes in handy. It comes in handy, but like I said, it's your audience. For instance, if you just push written word and audio stories, people are going to care less about the visuals because they're readers and listeners. That does play into it as well. Like, it's the audience you build over time. Visuals will help. They do help retention span, which is big on YouTube. They like retention span. But you can get away with it. But your story's got to be good and your audio's got to be good, because if you're going after that market, they can get very choosy, especially, like I said, with the advent of shitty AI stories hitting the market ridiculously.
Okay. Well, if it's not, when it comes to like not too fancy visuals, I could do that on my own.
Yeah.
But
if you draw them yourself, people like that as well, a part of the whole human made thing.
Fair. But yeah, so like there's a reason I also wanted you on the show, just to get your opinion on these things, because you've got a lot more experience on YouTube than I do. And
a little bit, yeah.
Well, no, a lot more. Dude, like, come on. I've been at this for a few years, but like my experience on YouTube has been crap, and I've struggled to learn the basics with YouTube, whereas you've been at this a lot longer. And okay, now I got to plug the Steel Hearts trailer, which you did, which was bloody awesome. And like Brian, one of the friends of Brian DeMeyer, who helped me promote it and get it over the stretch goals, just said one thing about the video you made, and he said, "Yeah, I'd buy that."
There you go.
Like,
yeah.
Well,
I try to lend my services like that, video creation and stuff to people, because I've been at the video game more than I'm at the video space game more than I've been at the YouTube game. Because I'm just an editor. That's what I do. I've been an editor for YouTubers for maybe 5 years now. And I've just gleaned from them slowly, learned from them slowly. And when it comes to trailers like that, it doesn't take too long to make them, like 2 days tops usually, with a little bit of tweaking here and there. And I know that there's a lot of really great like authors who just don't have the budget for marketing. And marketing is a gigantic thing, because it's part of, I'd say, the 3 things that'll sell your book. The three things that are sell your book are this. I'm telling you right now, this is the golden one. All right. Now, these are large and in charge general statements, and you can break them down and start tearing them apart. But I believe these are the three things, right? Number one is a quality product. You have to have something that's great. Your cover's got to be decent. Your writing's got to be better, and your ending's got to be great. So that way people can come back and they want more. Because I can tell you this, your cover can be great, but nobody is ever going to buy your sequel just because they like your cover. All right, that's just it. And the other two is simple: marketing and marketing. All right, your book can be as great as possible. If no one's ever heard of it, they're never going to hear about it. No one's ever going to know. You've got to take your book, your product, and get it out there in front of people. And like I said, the quality is going to bring them back. The quality in itself is going to be a marketing tool. Being that you're human is a major marketing tool. And so the major question is, how are you going to market your book? If you have a trailer, that's extremely marketable, because a trailer is a visual and audio based elevator pitch you can just give to the world. And I try to make trailers for people for nothing down, because I can do them pretty simple. It doesn't take me too long. If I'm not too busy, no problem. And I give people these tools that if they have the appropriate marketing experience, or even if they don't, they got this boon, this trailer, this thing that can say, look, my product exists. It's got advertisement, and then they can take that to the world. So trailers go far. It's a large piece of marketing. And I'm just trying to provide that to not all the authors in the world, because I'm only one guy, but to enough out there who need it, who are also trying to produce something of quality. Because just saying, when I started this whole authorial thing, I was surrounded by 5 times more authors than I see out there, 5 times more creators, and a lot of them just start falling off the wayside along the way. Maybe their stuff doesn't get published in any magazines that they try to. Maybe they just get burnt out for whatever reason it happens. But for those who are around and really just like, they're not stopping, they're really in the game, I want to help get them even further, because the content that's being written today is better than the content that major publishers are putting out. And there's large swaths of audiences that are just being left at the wayside because they're just not trying to produce something for them, or wish that they changed their tastes. It's an interesting world, the marketing game, but it is the number one reason why why their books are on shelves and yours are not. And it's also the number one reason why a lot of writers believe their books have to be on shelves, because they think that's the marketing. And that is a lot of it. But I guarantee you, if you take that trailer and you spread it around the interwebs, it's going to catch a lot more eyes than a shelf ever could.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this one did a lot of good. Although now I'm needing to figure out, to get a trailer for the radio drama for my book, so that I can.
Yeah.
I say radio drama, but it's because I've got the narrator. I've got a bunch of different people reading for different parts,
nice,
and whatnot. And
yeah, take sound effects seriously when you're producing that.
All right. Any sound effects site you might recommend?
Audio Hero is actually really good. $50 a year. Anything you make within that year, you get full rights to, with all the sounds and everything, and you can use it for anything, as long as you don't try to just sell the sounds, yourself. Because it is licensing. Yeah, it is license based. If you want to own the sounds, there's a large number of websites that are just sell sounds. You used to be able to find them pretty easily on Amazon, where they'd sell like CDs. You know how they have Amazon Music, but in their music section they'll have like a sound effects section. But I usually gravitate towards Audio Hero, because I already have a lot of sound effects, and after a while, just the gigabytes pile up. It gets hard to sort through them all. And Audio Hero just kind of has them there and you hit download, or you hit license, then download. And as soon as you license them, they're just put into this giant download structure, so you can find later on the different music that you already have licensed to use. And like I said, it's $50 for the entire year. Like, it's over 300 days, one payment, and you have access to it. It's quite affordable. That's really cheap per month there. But if you're just looking for sounds, you, like I said, just look up the sound you want and maybe a say CD or something, and you'll get so much different websites that'll come out with these CDs of just sounds. And the interesting thing is, a lot of artists will upload their Foley music or Foley sounds to all these websites. So maybe you'll see one where it has this sound bank you like, and it's like 80 sounds of someone dying or some crap. You say, I want this, but it's like $30, can't afford it. You can literally look it up online, take the name of that CD or that sound bank and just look it up online, and you may find it. You most likely will find it on another website for a different price, sometimes more, sometimes cheaper. Half the time I found it on sale. So over time, you can get all these sound effects. But the number one thing I say when I said take sound seriously is not only getting the appropriate sound effects, but it's also the placement, the sound. There's this YouTube channel that I almost like because they make their own audio stories. They take these books, these old books, and they turn them into audio stories. And it's really great. But I almost like them because it's kind of cool what they're trying to do, but they sacrifice sound. Like, let me go and paint a picture for you. This is literally from one of their stories. A gentleman exits his truck into a wintry wilderness location. He walks through brush and thorny trees, and he hears the sound of a woolly mammoth in the far distance. The book's about a woolly mammoth attacking people in the modern era, like the last one alive in this backwoods somewhere. And then he's running from the woolly mammoth, and then he trips over right when it gets to him, basically kills him. That entire sequence I just told you has zero sound in their audio story. Or I should say zero sound effects. The guy's reading it. But think about, if you close your eyes, you think about that scene. You want to try to bring that to life. You want people to hear that man's footsteps breaking the snow. You want to hear the twigs. You may want to hear some birds at the far distance. Things like that to help bring the wilderness to life. And what I do personally, not a lot of people do this. In fact, most of them don't. I try to find, if he's outside, if he's in a wilderness location, anything like that, I try to find a light wind noise or a light texture noise to signify he's outside. So that way, when he re-enters his truck, that wilderness noise, it's like this back texture, the back of anything that may even be just a few decimals lower than it has to be. So it's just like this little hiss you hear. It goes away because now he's in a different environment. And you can do this to signify someone walking through an open door and things of this nature. Because truth is, most rooms you are in, if you hit record, you're going to pick up sound. There's sound around you. And it's best to just try to capture all that sound you can. And the more that you can layer over itself and add more background textures, the more you can bring it all to life and captivate those people and just hold them there. And of course, music. Don't forget music too, because that toys with people's emotions, and it's a great tool to just try to get them to feel what you want them to feel, like turning a wrench on a screw that says activate emotion. That's kind of what music does. So all that comes into play. It's actually really fun to learn because there's just a lot of you that goes into it. A lot of people have their own personal styles. Bringing something to life through audio is as much as art as painting is. It's actually really fun to do, and you'll find your own style along the way, and you'll find out that bringing these stories can sometimes be easy, sometimes can be very complex, because I'll tell you this, you can't really bring much Lovecraft stories to life in audio fashion, because what does the sound of an ethereal creature that you can't describe with your eyes make? What is that sound? I don't know. Is it like
Probably
the squishy
the same
wet paper?
I was gonna say probably the same grumpy noise my mother used to make when just waking up when I was a teenager.
There you go.
Joking. Or first coffee.
Yeah. So, like, those are the things you got to think about. Monster noises can be fun because you could just take like 18 different animals and layer over their voices and growls and shit. So there's a lot like that, There's a lot like that. So you got to think in noise, which is interesting, or sound.
Yeah. All right. I've got a friend who recommended for removing noises from audio, Reaper, and like I'm looking at it and I can't figure this thing out for the life of me with how it works.
I haven't messed with the Reaper. What do you mean by removing sound?
Like there's pop sound or there's air against the mic and stuff like that. I'm trying to remove that, but I'm
pop filters.
This is a first for me. Yeah, like I need the filters and whatnot, but this is something which there's an entire learning curve to it. I think
there is. I would say try to avoid those as much as you can in the recordings, and the way you do that, at least to a little degree, is don't aim the mic directly at your face. Kind of put it at an angle, and you talk like next to it. Pop filters help, but also number one thing, and this is kind of a little difficult to achieve, don't have too moist of a mouth and don't have too dry of a mouth. If you have a dry mouth, you're going to pop a lot. So you feel that dry mouth coming on, take a swig of a little bit of water, not like a whole guzzle of water, put some water in your mouth, move it around a bit, drink up a little bit, quench your thirst, and then go at it again. On the production side of things, I just see more and more tools coming out. It's actually quite ridiculous. Give me a second. I got a phone call here I got to take. Sorry about that.
No problem. I'll just take a minute.
Okay, sorry about that. I work from home, so it's like I'm on call most of the time. That doesn't mean I drop everything I'm doing right now because I got to go run off and work. But when I get work, it means, okay, I'll be working in 2 hours time. So like that, as long as the work gets done before the end of the day sort of thing. Yeah.
I've worked like that in those kind of fields. Yeah, it's okay. Mostly teaching.
Okay.
But usually most times I'm teaching in person these days I'm taking online courses for a new degree. So I do understand how it is to do it remotely and whatnot. But okay, so what's your impression of where fiction is going? Like, what I mean by that is the direction of things. Because there's AI, but there's also talentless hacks that are seemingly like just coming in and they don't know what they're doing. And I've noticed a lot of them are able to. They're good salesmen. They're able to sell really well. Their stories aren't very good, but they're good salesmen. And this might sound weird, but this kind of distresses me more than, you know what I mean? Like the AI thing, the popularization of slop, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to the idea because, frankly, a lot of our arts have been apprehended by industry decades ago. It's the same people. And no matter what tool you give them, they're going to try to play things safe to a degree. That's kind of why they went woke. They thought that was a safe play to make. And I actually see AI as possibly the thing to take art out of their hands in the long run. Because because it gives the average person more production value, meaning that they can see their creations the way that they see it in their head coming to life. That means you may just get the actual 100% comic book adaptation of Daredevil in the future, and it's going to be made in someone's basement. It gives tenacious people with next to no money but a lot of creativity the tools to achieve this, and that's what these people are afraid of. And along the way, the reason they fear it across multiple industries, because I've been working for myself for close to 10 years now, and let me tell you something. I've seen people cry about new technologies coming to replace man over and over and over and over again. What I've seen it do is get rid of the lazy people who were barely in it to begin with and get rid of the people who were never in it to begin with. And that's what they're afraid of, is that it's going to take art, put it back in the average person's hand, and movies themselves, once produced, or media themselves, once produced, the notion of I guess scarcity will go out the window, and what they're producing will be worth less and less and less, I've seen this happen. When something is worth less, the people who were in it for the money go away. The people who were in it for the art stay. And that's what's going to happen. People who are just in it for the money are going to go away. Maybe not these industries, because that's the only reason they exist. But these smaller people who are producing schlock even before AI, they're going to go away. The people who have been producing these terrible woke movies are already on their way out. And your average ordinary dude is going to make the movie he wants to show his friends. And of course, you're going to have all of the scammer world going crazy on it, which we're already seeing. Like, it really is entering a new era of Wild West, that there's more potential than we have sort of sight of where this is going as a whole. But I see it returning the arts to the individual, though it's not going to be without blood spilt, obviously. Some people, like for me, the reason I was able to embrace aspects of AI art was because I realized that I have an image of my stories in my head, and if a machine can produce that image, that I, the very creator of that idea, that character, that place, that thing, says, that's it. That's my place. It did it. Is that really so bad? Is it really up to the author to give the illustrator job security? You know, that's kind of what goes through my head. And I want to see these major corporations, mainstream Hollywood. I want to see the book industry that's just been apprehending the art of writing and saying, no, you don't get to be published, and you crap gets to be published because I like that. I want to see those get destroyed, and I see AI doing that. Now, granted, they're going to do everything they can to A, apprehend AI like they did art, and B, keep it out of your hands. But I believe it's not evil. It's a tool, and it comes down to who's behind it. And I just see a lot of people with good intentions messing around with these tools. So, that's my little piece there, I guess. And not very popular, I understand, It's very popular just to say, hey, screw AI, and we got to be our artsy samurais who have to keep our honor clean. But, I'm a single guy here who's producing as much art as I can, even with my skill set. There's no way I can rival all the competitors in the mainstream. And this may just actually make that a thing. Not saying I use AI to write, mind you, because I don't, but I do use it to help fix my shitty punctuation and spelling, because let me tell you, I'm dyslexic. So that's been an aid there. It's been an aid there, getting over the writing issues that a hardcore dyslexic would be kind of face.
I get that.
Now, what's your opinion on this?
I think that we now know AI is just going to be a glorified grammar check and movie maker. Mm-hmm. So it's not. There's going to, like, whenever I see, like, there might well be a Skynet, I'm like, yeah, calm your tits down. There's not going to be a Skynet. we know that now. It's boring. No, like the AI we've gotten
Yeah.
is boring. It's not going to be as interesting as Skynet. It can't think on its own. Like even the one saying I want to destroy humanity, it's because someone put that in there. They had the program say that,
Mhm.
and then they record that to scare people. So I'm not. It might sound odd, but I've used for my French stories a grammar check AI, which just detects errors, and then I go in and I clean up the errors. It continues to detect the errors, and actually, like depending on the line underneath the sentence, it'll show how annoyed the AI is getting, and whether like how correct it is. You know, like I think it's yellow is like it's this is just beyond the pall. Just reword the entire damn thing. Red means it's bad, but it'll highlight like where the punctuation is off
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I need that, so
It's a
I
tool.
use
It's
that
a
in
good
my
tool.
French. Yeah, it just does detection. That's all I use it for. I need that detection thing, and it'll say like you need to reword this. It's
Mhm.
it's incorrect, and I'll go in and I'll say okay, I'm going to correct this, and I correct it. Sometimes it takes me like 5 combinations when I need to reword something. Like I reworded it one way, it'll continue to say that's not right. I reword it another way. I reword it another way until finally, But this slows me down
Mhm.
with production with my French stories. But what I get is a cleaner looking piece of dialogue or description, and it's grammatically correct. So I need that, but I do plan to get
Yeah.
myself an editor to still look
Mhm.
through it because I think
Yes.
there's a need for an actual human editor because the AI can only do so much, and I don't find it as reliable as a human editor. With my English stories, I don't even bother with AI. Well, I have a
Mhm.
slight grammar check AI, which is built into Word. Like it detects really egregious errors, and I use that. But as far as it might sound odd, but like other kinds of AI, like visual makers and whatnot,
Yeah.
I tried flirting with just designing pictures at one point, and the pictures came out so horrible that I kind of said I'm never doing this again because it looks horrid, it looks
Mhm.
terrible, and it was during that whole Miyazaki craze, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I tried it and I went, well, this is shit, and
Mhm.
I basically said like I could draw better than this by hand. And I even went on a few sites and I said, see, this is what you don't do, and here's what you do. And I had some weirdos say, you must use AI for everything, even your writing and whatnot. And I said, no, I'm pointing
Hmm.
out the errors the AI made. How is it me using this and then pointing it out
Yeah. That's
is
just the
me approving
prejudice.
of it?
That's the
Yeah,
strange aura of prejudice that's sort of revolving around this, which honestly clouds real conversation. Go ahead.
yeah, but I was actually pointing out the mistakes the AI
Yeah.
made, or to, as a
Same.
because I'm a former animator, and well, hand drawn. Like I used to do that and whatnot, and I draw the character concept art. And I said, now this would never make it past like Don Bluth, who I studied under. This would never
Hmm.
make it past his desk. This would never make it past my desk when I was basically the junior guy at a small studio. It's like I would never approve of this because you see, this is the egregious mistake right here. It doesn't look good enough. And people, like I said, dogpiled and said, that must be, they thought I was, for some reason, they had like this 5-second attention span. They're like, you must be approving of this. And I'm saying, no, I'm showing my disapproval. You twit. Like,
Yeah.
read what I write. Like, I'm
It's
writing and
if you're not,
literacy.
this is something I've noticed. If you're not just downright hating AI and say this sucks 100%, you're going to get those comments. People that come out and think,
Yeah,
well, he's not denouncing it 100%. Therefore, yeah.
yeah, I
And I
didn't
think
denounce it.
partially
I
that
was
they're
just,
bots. I think partially those are bots.
yeah, they probably are. I was just pointing out, here's the mistakes
Hmm.
and
Exactly.
saying,
What people need to
this
do.
is how, yeah. And I was saying, I probably won't be using this anymore because I can't see, like, I've tried for like 2 hours to use this thing. And in that time, I could have drawn the picture myself. Like, it takes me about 45 minutes to draw something up to this quality.
Hmm.
So, and then another 45 to touch it up. So, like, I could have drawn it myself. So, here's what you don't do with AI, people. And I must be a novice, but I don't think this is the way to go. But like I've seen
Mhm.
people do amazing stuff with AI. One guy has taken fantasy paintings people have been drawing, and he's able to make those into a small cinematic movie of like 5 minutes.
Mhm.
And I thought that was just amazing. It's one of the most amazing things I've seen. I even said it looks really cool. But would I use it? I don't know. Maybe. But the problem is it would take hours, and I don't know how.
Yeah,
Um,
there's more of a learning curve to it. Uh,
yeah, and I don't have the time for that.
mhm.
As it is, like I'm looking at Reaper and I can't find the function for like filtering out the noise to remove like the pop, the air pop.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I've
Like,
noticed that modern
but
day skills basically revolve around learning popular programs and how to use them.
yeah. Now, when it comes to do I do I disapprove of using AI to write? Absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, it, but
It
weirdly,
sucks too.
yeah, it really sucks. And
Yeah.
weirdly, how do I word it? Um, I'm not trying to sound arrogant, but
Yeah.
after writing for 2 years on Substack and writing the novels that I've written, and the fact that I've got one about to be published this summer and the other one I'm self-publishing in November,
Nice.
um, thanks. I can actually say AI cannot do what I do.
Hmm.
Um, and
I
there was a
believe
time
that.
thank you. There was a time I probably would have believed that that's arrogant of me, but I've started to think it can't write what I write. It cannot
Hmm.
create like my kind of Scottish, French, or Nordic or Japanese stories. It can't create those. It can't
Hmm.
write like a Victorian Englishman or a Victorian Frenchman. I can. That's my style. I can write like in that old English or old French style, like Alex Dumas, Tolkien. I can write like
Yeah.
that. But AI can't. It cannot seem to capture that voice, that style, that like the mannerisms. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, um,
It's very limited in that. It's limited in scope when it comes to the more creative and smaller
mm,
aspects, like catching a character's appropriate way of speaking. What I've noticed about it, because I have actually written multiple stories with AI just to see what it could produce. One of them was good. It was only good because I was the editor and fixed all its mistakes, which I would actually tell people to do. Have AI write a story and then fix its mistakes, and you will learn so much about its limitations. Um, they are beyond limited in so many ways, and I've done this with multiple different AI. What I found out is they all write similarly. And I think that's just because they're all fed the exact same information. You'll always get an overuse of M dash whenever you're writing with AI. You always get um, a lot of repetitive details about a character. Like this one story it chat out, this character was had a robot eye. Whenever it referenced him, it always referenced his robot eye. We already know he has a robot eye. Don't have to tell me every time he opens his mouth. It's like this character says, "Oh, we need to get out of here." His robot eye gleamed, every single time. Another one is a girl who kept fluttering her skirt whenever she entered a room. So whenever they went to another room, she'd flutter her skirt. It's better at writing code than it is at writing stories because that's what it's trying to do. It's like trying to approach a story uh, with a beginning, a middle, an end, character this, taking all these rules it gets off the internet and tries to write it like it's writing code. And what it produces is usually garbage. Now it's actually pretty good at I would say, um, acting as what I'd call a genre-specific regenerative thesaurus. So say you have you have words you want them to be more Western. You type in your word, you say, "Give me 10 spaghetti Western phrases that could replace this." It's really good for shit like that. Writing stories as a whole, I'd avoid it.
all right. I never like I've not thought about really using AI or really
Mhm.
you doing anything with it because I've not. Like I'll be honest, I don't really think about it most days, and yet
Yeah.
I see it constantly crop up on Twitter and other sites where people panic and freak out about it, and I'm going, wait, this is still you know what I mean? Like this is still a thing,
Yeah,
and
but
it's
they're
like
always going to be that way. I keep up with it
there.
because it's like a lot of people, whether we like it or not, it's prevalent in every industry and everywhere we see it. And me keeping up with AI allows me to spot AI. Like I started noticing that almost every other trailer commercial on TV is AI now. Most people can't spot it, but I mess with AI video and I know its weaknesses and
But
telltale signs. Go ahead.
to be honest, I have kind of noticed it.
Yeah.
Um, that's where I'll be honest. Like I've noticed when I start like the CG doesn't really look as good. Um,
Mhm.
I'll be honest. Like this, the reason it doesn't look good is because they're just dumping it into AI and using movies and whatnot as money laundering. Um, and like at least that's my theory. But
Mhm.
the only thing I'd want to use AI for, other than the grammar detection error thing, is maybe for audio clarity.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's a thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Like
you
cleaning
use
up
the
audio
AI
and
to do
stuff.
the noise. Yeah,
Yes.
like
That's another tool it's been really good for is cleaning up. It can clean up photos pretty good too.
yeah, and I just want to see about that. Like, is it possible? Like, I don't know if there's anything that like is free or within reasonable pricing, and I could just put
Mhm.
that in and like the
I
narration
know
I've got.
Adobe has one. I think it's called like they built it in their software because I use the Adobe Suite, but they also have one online, and I think you can subscribe monthly for it. It's basically that, and it's actually really powerful. I use it a lot. It's called? I think it's Adobe Enhancer. I think that's called Enhanced Speech from Audio. Okay, yeah, here it is. It's Adobe Enhance. Forget how much it is monthly, but it comes with my Adobe Suite subscription. So I'm pretty sure you
Let
can.
me look it up.
Let me. I'm looking at it right now. Let me hit plans. Just as free plan, premium plan.
It's about $10
Okay, that's not
a
bad,
month.
but it's pretty good if you're using a lot of audio stuff. That one's pretty good,
Yeah, I'm probably
and
gonna end up doing that.
yeah, it's really just drag and drop too, which is great. And then they have two sliders, one's to sort of add in more background noise, and the other one's to sort of like add more of the cleanup filter or less of it, so you can get it just the way you want it to.
Yeah, okay, that's what I want to do. I just want
Uh
to
huh.
like enhance the audio, fix it, and then put it out there. And well, I want to then put it in Filmora because I do like to use Wondershare
Yeah.
Filmora, and I'll basically like combine and put this thing together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like maybe after the show, I'll show you like what the narration looks like so far to get
Yeah.
your opinion and whatnot. Because, like I said, you know a lot more about this. You and my friend Coppernican
Uh
from
huh.
Substack, you guys know a lot about how this stuff works, and a lot of he does a lot. He uses AI for a lot of audio and whatnot stuff. So I'm probably going to end up asking him for his advice and opinion and whatnot
Mm-hmm.
as well. And like I got your opinion, but I also want his. Not because I
Mm-hmm.
doubt you. It's just
Yeah.
it's just he's been at it for like 2-3 years with the AI narration and also breaking it down what it can and can't do because he's a gearhead as well.
Okay.
But the less amount of time I have to spend on tech, the more time I have for writing. Is how I see it.
Definitely. Yeah. That's
Uh,
kind of why I use it as well because I'm a serial
mhm.
writer as well. I release a story
Same.
um, once every 2 weeks, short story between
Yeah.
2,000 to 4,000 words.
Yeah.
And it helps a lot with you know, like I said, basic editing, getting the words right. And I do have my own editor, takes a look at it afterwards. My editing process is actually, I write the story, I send it to AI to fix all my cripplingly bad grammar mistakes and punctuations. I read the story, fix what I don't like, which is usually getting rid of a shit ton of M dash and maybe some word choices. I don't like that. It's like, you know what? Now that I read this again, though, this word I put here kind of sucks. You know, so kind of gives it
I've been there.
that fresh second look feel. Then I send it off to my editor, my real editor, and because it's a short story, it comes back in no time whatsoever. And then okay, I apply his fixes and I give it the final read, make sure everything's in order. Though sometimes, you know, you always miss. Sometimes you miss stuff with shorter stories. You have less of a problem, at least for me, missing things because you know, short stories easier to tighten up. And I do that day in and day out. Right? I try to write one short story a week. I release one every 2 weeks, so that's going to pile up more than not. And then I want to take each of them, turn them to an audio story. So it's kind of where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm thinking of looking at it, of trying to make audio dramas with
Yeah.
other people so that I can get different voices in there and whatnot. But I won't lie. I think I'd like to, well, I have I have the idea of maybe at some point turning my some of my larger stories, like
Uh-huh.
shifting to something rather than the gemstone into audio formats. But those would be like multi-year ventures that,
Mhm.
like, I don't know. But
There's a lot to it.
the
There's a lot.
yeah. But as it is, as far as making in time for like a serial chapter every or story every 2 weeks, that's something that I'm
Mhm.
trying to do as well. Oh, what's
Yeah.
this?
This is something AI built for me, particularly. I got this on the web, the website, so it should be right here. My screen, it shows it backwards, but I want to show this off because this is a serial story plotter that AI made for me. And this is my story right here. And the way it works, it actually took 2 days to make this. Is you start off with a blank screen and you can hit new story. You can enter the name of your story here, the description, genre, and episode count. So let's say 10 episode count for this brand new one here. And it'll pop up here. And you can add up to 8 stories in this single window right here. And then you get all these super awesome features that I asked it to make for me. And this is an actual story I'm working on. You can add in arcs. So you have story arcs. You can, I've already got 3 separate story arcs here. This is a series that has yet to be written, but I planned it out ahead. This is going to be the next one I release. And this tool has been a godsend. It took AI, like I said, 2 days to make, and it's 100% free online. I'm showing it off because I just want authors to have access. It's got serialstoryplotter.com. Yeah. And right here, you can create characters to add that can be used as tags. Down here, as you saw before, when I create a new story, I get to select how many episodes I want. I could add in new episodes right here. And this little area is just where all the episodes are held at the way bottom. And I could also, because, you know, you got to scroll all the way down to see all these episodes. I didn't like that. I put this little scroller here so you can easily choose an episode. You could have up to 25 episodes here. So you can choose between 1 to 25 and you can add up to 25. And then you click on an episode. This is episode 1, The Arrival. I click on it. And what you have is you have episode 1, and I typed in The Arrival, and I put in the basic plot summary. I put in some notes right here, and there are no arcs that take place right at the beginning, but you could insert an arc right here. And here I have characters that are in here as well in this particular episode. And when I add in arcs or characters, they're going to appear right here. See, here's all the characters listed. So if I'm just scrolling through here, I can see where my arcs are, where my characters are. Like this one has an arc, The Man with the Dog Mystery. I click on it, See, here's the man with the dog mystery, and it's resolved. That's why it's green here. It means that this mystery has been resolved, and I can change it from resolved, introduced, or advanced. So if the mystery is advanced at this point, I can just hit advanced, and it'll change the color to orange, but I have to hit save. Then it'll change the color right there. But we're going to go ahead and set it back to resolved because that's resolved already at this point. And what you'll also get is you have planned, you get in progress, completed, published, or on hold. If you hit completed or published here, let's hit save, you're going to see up here this completion go up because you have episodes, the amount of episodes, word. Whenever you're typing away, you can keep track of your word count by just clicking on an episode right here, word, and inserting the word count, hit update. The amount of words are going to tally up to here for all your stories. So if you're writing 15 episodes like me and you're curious, well, how much words is it all together? Just fill in your word count and they'll tally up right here when you hit update or save. That way you can keep track of that as well. And like I said up here, this percentage is based off of the amount of stories I currently have. When I set it to complete right here, it will calculate the stories. It'll say this one's complete, and then it'll put a percentage of the completion rate of all your stories up here. So you can keep track of that as well. This one isn't complete, it's planned. Update, save. The only downside I'd say right now that I have to add is that, say if you fill out all this, but you click off of it or hit another episode without hitting save, it won't save. I need to get that fixed where a warning pops up and says, you did not save, or you should want to leave. So that's the only downside I think this thing has right now. But it is a really fascinating tool that AI built me that I just uploaded to the internet. I don't even know how to code, mind you. I didn't know how to code. AI did this 100%. It fixed all the errors. And then I asked it, how do I get this online to share? And it gave me a step-by-step process. And every time I got stuck on a step, I asked it, break it down even further. I'm stuck here. Tell me in a different way. Give me other options. And it did every single time. So coding, I'd say, is one of its strengths. And I, a non-coder, built this thing that's now on the internet. And like all good things, it has a day and night cycle, which people like. You'll have a little guide here to tell you how to use it all. And you'll also have a download JSON file or an upload JSON file, which will allow you to save your story and upload it later on. But just in case, it actually saves automatically for you on the back end in your PC. So if you accidentally hit refresh, your story's still there. But if you want to get rid of it and all that, just clear your cache. But also, it lets you save a text version of your file as well. If you don't want to have a JSON, you just want to have yours in text format so you can open up at Word whenever you want. You got that too. It's all right here for you. Everything I wanted in a program AI made, and it's out there for free to people to use right now. This is live. This is on the internet. I just wanted to show this off to you because, power to the freaking writers, man.
So does it actually create the plot?
No, it's just a plot organizer for you. It's just a plot organizer.
Oh, it organizes the story.
Yeah, one at a time.
You punch in your notes.
Exactly.
And it organizes your notes.
Exactly. So you can go to a new story. He's getting it. It's filling in now. He's catching up. So let's go start a new one. We'll start a new one. We got this one right here. That's fine. All right, we'll start a new one. This is what it looks like. 0 arcs. We'll add an arc. We'll say character arrives. Our character's just going to arrive. All right, character arrives. We'll insert it there, and then we'll add in character. His name's just going to be Joe. That's going to be our name, character Joe. So we hit add character, and we got Joe there. Episode 1. We can name it whatever we want. Doesn't have to be episode. We can delete it. Say Joe arrives. Delete it. Joe arrives. And then fill in the description. Joe arrives on a bus. And then your notes here. Joe slips. Joe slips. One thing I didn't mention is that your notes are also going to partially pop up here. And we can say Joe arrives. Right there, introducing Joe arriving as a character. We'll put Joe here. We'll hit save. And then we hit save. Here's our Joe Slips. It's going to pop up right here. Our word count will also pop up here. Let's fill in word count. Say 1, 2, 3. Hit save. Pop up. Our word count's there. Joe Slips, episode 1. All there. We have our character. We have our event. And then we can create our second one if we want. But let's say we completed this. It's no longer planned. We completed the story. We hit complete. Story's done. We'll save. Now we have our word count saved up here, the amount of words you put in, and your completed story. You can go on to the second one. We already know what happens when we insert information here. And let's say we're continuing our arc of Joe arriving. Now we're going to advance it. You know, Joe's already here. We're advancing the plot. Insert Joe is here. And we're going to add extra words. We'll add 1, 2, 3 extra words. And now this one's complete as well. Hit the update button. Hit the save button. And the words tallied up right here. So that way you never have to worry about or wonder how much words are in all my different stories combined. It'll always be tallied up here as long as you insert them. And now you're 20% done with your 10-word story. You completed that one, 20% done. You can keep track of your progress all here. So that's what this tool is for. It's just for authors. Hopefully that all showed up on the screen all right.
Yeah, I did. I was just,
Okay.
I wasn't following, I guess. Like I said, this tech stuff is really complicated for someone like me.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's one of those things where, how do I put it? It's interesting. I don't know if I'll ever use it, if only because I'm just so accustomed to my disorganized mess of a style. Yeah. I'm joking there. I know
this one's been quite popular with the comic book artists. What I've noticed.
Really, I can see why.
Yeah, there's a lot to juggle with comic books because you don't necessarily stop writing in those babies.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where it's very, very. You need the extra help. I'll just put it that way, because it's very difficult to organize those. I've tried writing a comic and it blew up in my face. Didn't make it very far. It's just the way it is. But that being said, the thing that I'd probably use it for that, but like I said, the AI thing, I don't care about the whole TISI because I'm a fiction author. This, I guess this how I see it is this doesn't involve me.
Yeah.
And as far my professional job is that I'm trained to teach English, and I'm back in school to train to be a French teacher. So and if I can, I'm going to try to get also 1 or 2 other languages under my belt. So as well as education. So AI you can't really use that to teach kids. You know what I mean? Not effectively. And I know people want to try, but I don't see it being really.
It's not a substitute, it's a tool.
Yeah. So I kind of regard it as teaching. We're going to still need school teachers in 20 or 50 years. We're still going to need, I also, I can write, and I'm trying to figure out how to do audio technical work. That can be replaced with an AI. But there's a lot of things that can't be replaced with AI. And I've got a little experience in farming. I got a little experience here in that or this. And the thing is, this thing's not going to replace everything. It's just people who are addicted to panic.
I think a funny joke I heard was, we thought AI would come around, do all the hard labor so we can make music and make art. But it turns out labor's harder than we thought. So we're doing the hard labor and it's making the music and the AI is making the art.
Yeah. And it's like, this is something which I just find it like, what the hell? Like, I'd rather it do the manual labor so I could just get to making art
Yeah.
and
Well, that's where the tools
whatnot.
come in. That's where the tools come
Yeah.
in, we use it as a tool and it takes out the menial stuff that's super repetitive. It's really just doing the same thing over and over again, but it has to get done. Give those tasks to the AI and you free up your time for other things. It's really all about aiding the individual in efficiency and productivity above anything else. People who use it to just produce things rapidly are just content farmers. They don't care about quality. They care about maximum output above all else.
But I gotta go soon, so we'll stop here. And I'll encourage everyone to check out James' channel. Where can they find you, James?
You can find me on Substack, worldwithoutendlore.substack.com, where I've been posting my short stories. And you can find me on the Terran Tuesday stream, where I host The Black Knight and RH Snow as we discuss a litany of topics revolving around culture, literature, and media. You can find that at World Without End Lore on YouTube.
All right. So you heard the man. Get over there. So I'll talk to you all later. Bye.